Hello and welcome to my video. My name is Tavrina and this is my first video on YouTube. I decided to make this video because I stumbled upon some creators on YouTube that talk about this issue that has to do with MLMs. I will explain what that is shortly. The MLM community is very prevalent in the United States and therefore less known in other parts of the world like Europe. For you to understand better why I'm making this video, I have to give you a bit of background about myself. So, I am 22 years old, I am from Greece, but I have spent the previous 12 years of my life in Switzerland. The first time I heard about MLMs was on YouTube by a creator named Hannah Alonso, and she's actually the one who inspired me to make this video. Afterwards though, I found more creators, more anti-MLM creators, which I will list in the description box below. A few weeks ago, if you had asked me if I personally knew anyone involved in an MLM, I would have said no. But after seeing so much content about anti-MLM, I discovered companies that I didn't even know were MLMs, and this led to a further discovery. My aunt is in an MLM, which I found pretty funny at the time. So the fact that a lot of people get roped into MLMs without being properly educated about them, and the fact that the oversaturation in the US will lead to more MLMs emerging in Europe, made me decide to make this video and give you more information about this topic. This video is in no way an attack towards people in MLMs. It is purely for educational purposes. I do have to make one disclaimer though. Everything company specific that I will show you is taken from the website of the companies themselves. So your big question, what is an MLM? Multi-level marketing is a legitimate business strategy used by some direct sales company to sell products and services. Existing members, also known as distributors, are encouraged to promote and sell their offerings to other individuals and bring on new recruits into the business. That is important. Participants are paid a percentage of their recruit sales, and members at all levels receive some form of commission, which means the more layers there are, the more money people can earn. The form of compensation resembles the shape of a pyramid in which the people at the top earn the most money. The recruiters are called the upline, and the recruited are the downline, as you can see in this picture. The anti-MLM community has an issue with the business model and not the people in the MLMs. To understand the issue with the MLM business model, you first need to understand what a Ponzi scheme is. A Ponzi scheme is a type of investment scam where returns are paid to existing investors using money from new investors rather than from profit earned. For example, looking at this picture right here, let's say that the man at the top is a wealth manager. He promises the two blue men below him that if they give him money, he will double their investment. How does he double their investment though? He promises the four red people below them the exact same thing. So he uses the red's money to double the blue's money. He does the exact same thing over and over again until the last in line invest money, but he has no one else's money to give back to them. So in short, the steps are promise of high returns, there is no actual investment, new investors are the one funding the scheme, and the scheme grows and grows until it eventually falls apart. Before we dive into the problems of the MLM business model, we first need to understand what their compensation plan and income disclosure statement looks like. Their compensation plan is what you will find on the company's website, and it shows you how each rank within the company gets paid. And the income disclosure statement just shows you how much money each rank actually makes annually. I will talk about Avon, but since Avon does not provide us with an analytical income disclosure statement, I will use one from a different company. So first, what is Avon? Avon is an MLM that specializes in cosmetics, perfumes, and skincare products. The products are sold through a network of independent contractors, also known as Avon ladies or Avon men. Avon's compensation plan is in dollars, so this is the currency that we will use for this part of the video. When a sales representative or sales rep sells a product, they and their team members make money. In order for them to maintain their rank, they must meet the campaign performance requirements. When you first get recruited, you start off as a sales rep. However, the first rank of the company is promoter, and the highest rank, which I think is the 12th rank, is platinum executive leader. So let's take as an example a star promoter. Their personal sales need to be $50, meaning they need to sell or buy $50 worth of product. I will come back to that later because that is very important. They need to have recruited 2 people to their downline. They earn a 3% bonus on the sales of new recruits if and only if they have a minimum of $50 in personal sales. And they get a 3% commission off of their direct downline. Their direct downline, as you can see in the table, is G1, which means Generation 1. However, going back to the personal sales, the $50 in personal sales can either come from customers or from personal orders. And that is highly problematic because let's say that a rep does not meet the monthly requirements of selling $50 worth of products. They will have to purchase that with their own money to maintain their rank. So now going to the income disclosure statement, the only income disclosure statements that Avon published are 2 PDFs from 2008 and 2009 that look like this. You may not have experience on what an income disclosure statement looks like, but they're usually in the form of a graph in which you see what each rank makes annually. So I will not go through this a whole lot because it's not that detailed and analytical. But as you can see here, the highest percentage, which is 36.1%, earns between 0 and $5,000 each month. This is not a very telling income disclosure statement since it's from 2009. So to show you a more analytical income disclosure statement, I will show you one from another company. This is from Avon, a skincare, body care, hair care, and makeup company. We will look at the median annual earnings and not the average because the median is resistant to outliers, whereas the average can be heavily influenced by extreme values. For instance, if you have a data set of incomes where most people earn around $50,000 annually, but only a few earn millions, the average income would be skewed significantly higher by those few individuals. This graph is in pounds because I got it from the British Avon website. So as you can see here, there is 5 ranks. However, in Avon, there is more than 5 ranks. I think there might be around 11, but I'm not sure. But they have summed up all the ranks together. For example, as you can see in district managers, there is a few ranks of district managers, but they've summed them up so that they show less ranks. I'm not sure why, but maybe for a better overview. So as you can see here, the lowest rank is the independent consultants who make around £76 a year. However, this income, of course, does not account for the welcome kit, which is something you have to buy in order to become a rep, a representative. And that welcome kit is £70. And it also doesn't account for the money that you will pay each month from your own pocket to hit the monthly requirements, as we talked about before. So if we do take the best case scenario and we suppose that there is no other payments that an independent consultant has to make apart from the compulsory welcome kit, that's £70, their median annual earnings will be £6. 76 minus 70. So what is the problem with the MLMs? And as most people say, it is not with the products, but with the business model. The products can be between average to good to amazing, but most anti-MLMers do not have a problem with the products themselves, but with the actual business model. One problem in the eyes of the anti-MLM community is that MLMs often focus more on recruiting new members than selling actual products, which can lead to a pyramid scheme-like structure. This can result in financial losses for most participants, except for those at the top of the pyramid. Another problem is that exactly for that reason, it is an unsustainable business model. Why? Because when the pool of potential recruits dries up, the business often collapses. For example, if 5 people recruit 5 more people, and those 5 people recruit another 5 people, this can only go on for 13 cycles until the number of people exceeds the population of the Earth. So logically, the people at the bottom will have no chance of gaining income through new recruits, which is the main source of income. Another thing that people don't really like about MLMs is that they make unrealistic income promises, which can be misleading and deceptive. These unrealistic income promises are not impossible to reach, as some people have managed to get to the top, but they are very highly improbable to reach. Another problem is that MLMs often target vulnerable individuals, such as those who are unemployed, retired, or struggling financially. And of course, with the income claims that they make, entering an MLM seems like the best solution at the time to these people. A further issue that is not talked about that much, I think, I've heard it from anti-MLM people, but it is not the main issue, is that independent contractors or sales representatives are not experts. There is no training that you have to take in order for you to become a distributor and promote the products. Many of the reps make claims about the products that are not true and not scientifically backed. A further thing that is not talked as often, but I find it very, very important, is that MLM participants are usually classified as independent contractors rather than employees, and that means that they are not entitled to traditional employee benefits such as retirement plans, health insurance, or paid time off. And this connects to my further point that I want to make, that MLMs are prevalent in countries with weak labor laws. So independent contractors are not fully hired by the company and therefore do not get the full workers' protection. So for example, they do not get or they are not offered an hourly salary. As an example, especially when the MLM is oversaturated with people joining, people at the bottom will have such a hard time finding new recruits. They can work 10 times as hard as someone at the top, but it is still possible for them to receive no money because they did not have a chance to recruit. So it really doesn't matter how hard you work or how much you work. It's mostly the end result that matters about whether or not you get paid or not. So whether someone gets high in an MLM has to do with the timing and not with the hard work. And the last thing that I want to mention about the problems and the issues that I see in MLMs is that the MLM culture uses tactics like toxic positivity and victim blaming. Toxic positivity in MLMs refers to the excessive emphasis on positive thinking and a lack of acknowledgement of the potential negative consequences of involvement in multi-level marketing schemes. MLMs often use this approach to recruit and retain members, promising them success and financial freedom if they adopt a positive attitude and believe in the company's products or services. However, this approach can be harmful and even toxic, as it can lead to feelings of shame, guilt, and anxiety among those who fail to achieve the promised success. And that should really not be the case, because the way the business model is designed is to make the few at the top rich at the expense of everyone at the bottom. It is actually designed for people, or for most people, to fail. So after listening to the problems that the anti-MLM community has about MLMs, let's go over to some statistics. Around 70% of independent contractors in MLMs are women. That will be important in something that I will mention later on. 99% of people in MLMs lose money. That is a statistic. As it says here, the vast majority of commissions paid by MLM companies go to a tiny percentage of TOPPs, top of the pyramid promoters, at the expense of a revolving door of recruits, 99% of whom lose money. And now, going over to the final topic of my video, I want to tell you what some MLMers say in favor of the MLMs and the MLM business model and against the anti-MLM community. So something that you might hear from them very often is that the anti-MLM community is anti-women. And that is actually not true. It's actually the farthest thing you will hear from the truth. The videos that the anti-MLM community makes are solely to inform people about MLMs, so that they make an educated decision about whether or not they should join one. It just so happens that the majority of people joining are women, as we saw before, 70% of them. And I would actually argue the exact opposite. We try and help women and warn them before entering a business model in which the probability of them not making any money is very, very high. Another thing that I personally find kind of funny is that people in MLMs will say, we can't be the victims and the predators at the same time. Pick a side. And that is just not true. Someone who was a victim of an MLM pitch and got recruited must then turn into the recruiter. And just as someone preyed on their vulnerabilities, they now have to prey on others' vulnerabilities to recruit them. And I can actually give a very simple example. So as I told you before, I am from Greece. And in Greece, as I'm sure in many other countries, in Europe at least, there are these fake banknotes that people make in order to pay for things and not use real money. So I've heard a few stories about this, that a person receives a fake banknote, either accidentally or on purpose, and in order for them not to lose this amount of money, they pass the banknote knowingly to someone else so that they can just get rid of this banknote without actually losing money. So in the beginning, they were the victim of fraud when they got the fake banknote, but then they made a choice to give this banknote to someone else knowing that it's fake. So I think you can be a victim and a predator at the same time. You can be the victim of something, but then choose to do the same thing to someone else in order for you to get higher, or in the example that I gave, to not lose any money. We have another argument that the MLM community likes to say. They say, the corporate pyramid is also shaped like a pyramid. Why is that not considered the pyramid scheme? And I just have to say, as many people say, it's just not the same. The pyramid shape is not the main issue. The pyramid shape of the MLM companies are not the actual issue. It's how money is distributed that is the main problem. The unethical part about MLMs is that most of the money comes from recruiting instead of selling. Otherwise, people would be able to reach the highest rank of the company solely based on sales, which is not possible, as we saw in the compensation plan. The corporate pyramid or corporate ladder is shaped like a pyramid, yes, but the salary of a manager in a corporate ladder is not based on how many employees he has under him. And his salary also does not get affected when a new employee gets hired or an old employee leaves. A further argument that they like to bring up is that everyone does it. We're just smart enough to get paid for it. And what I have to say is that not everything has to be monetized. If I post on my Instagram about a product that I really like, it's a genuine recommendation because I don't get paid for it. And people that do post a recommendation or a product they liked are not trying to recruit others to further pitch this product. On the contrary, people in MLMs have to post only about their company's product, hoping to recruit and sell to gain money. So let's say that a company brings out a product that is not as good, an MLM company. MLM reps cannot go out publicly and say that, hey, this new product that my company brought out is not as good. They always have to hype the new products that come out in order to sell them. And this takes away from the genuineness of their post or recommendation. And the last thing that people in MLMs say is mostly to also make the opportunities seem more attractive. They say, you are a business owner and have all the independence and flexibility. You can work from home, which is true. You can work with your family. You can work anywhere, anytime you want. And what I have to make clear from the start is that if you join an MLM and you become a sales contractor, you're not a business owner. A business owner typically owns and controls their business entirely. They make decisions regarding products, services, pricing, market strategies, and business operations. An MLM representative does not own the business itself, but instead acts as an independent contractor or distributor for the company. They have limited control over product offerings, pricing, and other aspects of the business. So, coming to the conclusion of this video, I summed up many points that I've heard from different videos, and I took them and put them all together. So you might ask yourselves, why do MLMs actually exist if they are like pyramid schemes? Because pyramid schemes are illegal. And the reason that MLMs exist, firstly, is because they provide a product along with how they've structured their whole business model. So they do recruit, but they say that we sell a product. And the second reason why MLMs exist, apart from the legal side of it, is that they prey on vulnerable, desperate, and not well-informed people. And as well, on what I mentioned before, weak labor laws. So, how can we counter that? There's actually only one sentence I can say, and that is stay informed and make educated decisions. I hope I could provide you with enough information for you to know what MLMs are, how they work and operate, and how you should be careful and take into consideration everything we talked about when thinking, or if thinking, of joining one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I see you again.